I remember the silence after the war, the kind that seeps into your bones and makes you question whether the universe itself is still breathing. It was the year 3125, and humanity was gone. At least, that's what the rest of the galaxy believed. The Exhor Dominion's armada had swept through Sol like a tidal wave of fire, turning Earth into a silent, burning ember. I can still see the planet in my mind, oceans boiling, cities reduced to ash, the once bright curve of our home shrouded in black smoke. Mars was glassed in under 2 hours. The lunar colonies were vaporized in minutes. Every station, every ship, every settlement, obliterated. No transmissions. No survivors. The war logs the galaxy would later write called it * the extinction sweep star. They were wrong. What they didn't know, what they couldn't imagine, was that a fragment of us still lived. I was there, one of the lucky few, aboard the Ardent Dawn *, drifting beyond Neptune in the cold, black void. We had taken a beating so severe our FTL drive was crippled, weapons burned out, hull cracked like old bone. Out of 2,000 souls, only 67 remained. The others were gone, some burned, some lost to the cold when the hull ruptured. We listened in silence to the alien broadcasts we intercepted. The galaxy celebrated our annihilation. Our faces, our history, our culture were archived like relics of a primitive species that had dared to defy the great Exhor. It wasn't grief I felt, it was something heavier. And then the captain broke the silence, his voice low but sharp, like steel scraping stone. "They think we're dead," he said, his eyes locking with mine through the dim red emergency lights. "Let's make them regret it." And in that moment, the war wasn't over. It had just begun. We became shadows in the void, slipping between systems like whispers no one could trace. The Ardent Dawn * was a crippled warship when the Exhor left us for dead, but piece by piece, we rebuilt her with the scraps the galaxy had forgotten. We scavenged in asteroid graveyards where wrecks drifted for centuries, their crews long turned to dust. We stripped weapons from abandoned freighters, patched our hull with mismatched alien alloys, and rewired power grids with salvaged circuits pulled from derelict destroyers. Every day was a fight against time, hunger, and the cold bite of space. Food was rationed so strictly that our ribs showed through our skin. A single cup of water was worth more than a plasma rifle. We slept in shifts, not because of duty, but because the heat couldn't keep all of us warm at once. But the suffering forged us into something harder than steel. We learned to adapt, to use what we had, to think like predators. Every alien system we hijacked and every ship we stripped made us faster, meaner, and deadlier. We studied the Exhor fleets in detail. They relied on central command relays, take one out, and an entire sector went blind. Their shields were impenetrable to most weapons, but in the 78 terahertz range, there was a flaw, a frequency gap our tech could slip through. We didn't just survive, we learned. The galaxy believed we were ghosts, and so we became ghosts. We struck quietly, leaving no survivors, no transmissions, no evidence, just wreckage drifting in silent testimony. Every raid left them more uncertain, more afraid. We knew the truth the galaxy had yet to learn: humans don't vanish quietly. We haunt the darkness, and we always come back. The day we intercepted the Exhor Emperor's transmission was the day everything changed. It came through a scrambled relay, faint under layers of static, but his voice cut through as sharp as a blade. The human infestation is eradicated. Their last screams were recorded for our archives. He spoke the words with the casual arrogance of someone who believed them to be eternal truth. I felt my chest tighten, my hands curling into fists. Around me, the crew froze. No one moved. The sound of breathing filled the comms channel, heavy and uneven. Some lowered their heads, eyes wet with the memories they couldn't bury. Others gritted their teeth so hard I could hear it. For me, it wasn't rage at first, it was something colder. The kind of cold that sinks deep and stays there, a pressure behind the ribs. His words weren't just about victory, they were about erasure. He wanted the galaxy to forget us, to remember humanity only as a footnote, a warning to any species foolish enough to resist the Dominion. The captain's voice finally broke the silence, low but steady. We take Earth back. It was absurd. We had one ship against a civilization that spanned hundreds of systems. They had fleets the size of small continents, orbital weapons capable of glassing a planet in minutes, armies bred for war since birth. But numbers have never been the way humans measure the impossible. We don't weigh odds the same way others do. In that moment, it didn't matter that our hull was patched with scrap, that our crew was starving, or that every alien ship in the galaxy could outrun us. What mattered was that they thought the war was over. What mattered was that they had forgotten one thing: humans are the wrong species to leave breathing. We chose the Corin Rift for our first strike, a place where the stars themselves seemed to writhe behind curtains of ionized plasma. Navigating it was suicide for most ships, which made it perfect for us. Our target was a X-Hor supply convoy, for freighters heavy with munitions and fuel, guarded by 2 mid-class escorts. On paper, it was a small hit, barely a scratch on the Dominion's war machine. But it wasn't about the damage. It was about the message. We came out of the rift like a blade from the dark, rail cannons already charged. The rebuilt weapon systems sang as they fired, each slug superheated by our jury-rigged capacitors. Their shields flared once, twice, and then collapsed under the terahertz disruptors we had crafted from stolen alien tech. The escorts moved to intercept, but our stealth drones slipped past them, attaching themselves like parasites to their hulls. Seconds later, they exploded from within, splitting the ships into ragged halves. The freighters tried to scatter, engines burning hot, but the Ardent Dawn was faster than she had any right to be. We crippled them one by one, targeting their drives, leaving them drifting. Only one ship was left intact. That was intentional. We hailed them just once. No words, only a visual feed of our human faces, silent, staring. Then we let them go. They would run back to their masters, carrying with them the impossible truth: humanity still lived. As we retreated into the rift, the crew was silent, not from exhaustion, but from the realization that we had just taken the first step into a war we could never turn back from. Somewhere out there, the galaxy's laughter had faltered. Somewhere, fear had begun to take root. Not everyone in the galaxy had cheered when humanity burned. Some had watched in silence, knowing their turn would come. The Veyran syndicates were one of them, a scattered network of smugglers, mercenaries, and traders, living under the boot of the X-Hor for generations. They had no love for us, but they hated the Dominion more. Our first contact came without warning. One moment we were alone in the dead zone between systems, the next, a cloaked corvette slid out of the dark, its hull painted in shifting patterns that confused scanners. Their leader, Cirrus, came aboard in person. Tall and thin, with pale skin that seemed almost translucent under the ship's lights, and 4 eyes that never blinked at the same time, Cirrus carried himself with the confidence of someone who had survived too many close calls. He didn't waste time on pleasantries. "You want revenge," he said, voice low, accented. "We want freedom. Let's trade." They offered a stealth tech, adaptive camouflage fields, sensor scramblers, drive masking systems. In exchange, they wanted something the X-Hor had beaten out of them long ago: the art of real war. Human war. We taught them how to strike where it hurt most, how to fight dirty, how to turn small victories into legends. They learned fast. In the weeks that followed, we fought side by side in the shadows. Syndicate ships lured X-Hor patrols into ambushes where we tore them apart. We hit convoys, slave camps, relay stations. We didn't just take supplies, we freed prisoners, armed them, and let them vanish into the dark to spread the word. Rumors began to spread across alien black markets. Whispers in darkened bars spoke of something impossible: humans, alive and hunting. And with every whisper, our myth grew sharper. Our fleet was small, but it was lethal. We hadn't grown in numbers the way the X-Hor had, with endless warships and soldiers bred like machines, but in cunning and firepower. 3 captured X-Hor destroyers now sailed under our flag, stripped of Dominion insignias and outfitted with human AI cores that adapted in real time to enemy maneuvers. Our railguns were retrofitted with scavenged tech, firing with brutal precision. Alongside them, Veyran stealth corvettes darted through space like shadows, their hulls flickering with adaptive camo fields. We fortified asteroid bases deep in uncharted belts, turning them into kinetic artillery nests hidden beneath layers of rock. These bases could launch surprise barrages, tearing apart Exhor supply lines before the enemy even knew what hit them. We weren't just fighting for survival anymore, we were striking to cripple, to dismantle the Dominion's hold piece by piece. Each attack was surgical. We no longer sought resources, we sought fear. Orbital shipyards exploded into clouds of debris. Slave camps were liberated and leveled in the same strike, leaving nothing but silence. Communication hubs that kept Dominion fleets coordinated were shredded in stealth raids. Then came the intelligence no one else dared to speak aloud, the location of the Exhor Emperor's flagship, the Sovereign's Wrath Star. It was a fortress of war, a mobile bastion equipped with weapons that could vaporize moons. Most believed it untouchable. We did not plan to flee from this fight. The Ardent Dawn and our ragtag fleet prepared to face the impossible head-on. There would be no retreat. The reckoning was coming. Our war had shifted. From ghosts to hunters. From survivors to executioners. The galaxy was about to learn why humans are the deadliest mistake any species could make. The battle over Vraxis Prime was unlike anything I'd ever seen, a storm of fire and steel raging against the dark canvas of space. Our fleet emerged from the shadows, shields flaring like molten glass, weapons screaming their defiance. The Emperor's armada was vast, a living nightmare of warships stretching beyond the horizon of the planet below. But we were faster, meaner, and unafraid to die. The Ardent Dawn led the charge, battered but burning with the will of every human left alive. Our railguns tore through enemy lines, while the Veyron corvettes slipped past massive cruisers to deliver crippling strikes on their flanks. We weren't just fighting for territory, we were fighting for the soul of humanity itself. The enemy retaliated with brutal precision. Plasma lances tore through our shields, sending shockwaves through the hull. One by one, our ships began to fall, silent echoes lost in the void. When the Ardent Dawn took the killing blow, the captain made a decision none of us could forget. We rammed the Emperor's flagship head-on, detonating our reactor in a blinding explosion that lit up the darkness like a nova. I was thrown clear in the blast, tumbling through wreckage as the flagship's hull cracked and groaned. In the chaos, I saw him, pinned beneath debris, his eyes wide with disbelief. "You're supposed to be dead," he gasped, voice weak but laced with fear. I smiled, blood dripping from my cracked lips. "Humans don't die easy." The flagship shuddered, then exploded, sending a shockwave that rippled across the system. Silence fell, not the silence of defeat, but of a reckoning fulfilled. Across the galaxy, the legend began to grow. Humanity had returned, not as survivors, but as executioners. And this time, no one would ever forget.